As the Senate worked this week to pass a Keystone Pipeline bill, President Obama set his sights on a new fossil fuel target, announcing that he'll use his executive authority to designate 12 million acres in Alaska's Arctic National Wildlife Refuge as wilderness, walling it off from future oil and gas drilling. The surprise move prompted Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski to claim that the president had effectively declared war on her state, where the energy industry accounts for as much as 90% of government revenue. We're back with Dan Henninger, Wall Street Journal Potomac Watch columnist Kim Strassel, and editorial board member Joe Rago also joined the panel. So, Kim, let's start with you. The same week that the president made this move in Alaska, he also opened up some new areas, potentially, off the Atlantic coast for drilling. Which move is more important?
The Alaska move is far more important. The move off of the Atlantic is still just a possibility. We don't know how long it's going to take for them to open that up for leasing. It's not very much, and we don't really know what's proven out there. The Alaska move is significant. Alaska is an engine of energy production in this country. The pipeline is vital, and to the degree the Obama administration continues to wall off any federal oil and gas going into that pipeline, the more likely it is it gets shut down.
The current pipeline, you mean, could get shut down?
Yes, the Trans-Alaska pipeline.
Okay, wow, and that would be a huge blow to Alaska. So this is a repudiation and part of a deal that Congress had made some years ago, where it said, look, we'll wall off some parts of Alaska, but some of the parts that the president now wants to block from drilling were explicitly laid out, reserved by Congress for the potential for oil and gas exploration.
Right. This is a law going back to 1980, and I think the Alaska delegation makes a pretty good case that this move is actually illegal. It says you can't designate more wilderness without the consent of Congress. And if you listen to what they're talking about, I mean, Lisa Murkowski is sort of the quintessential center-right, moderate senator, and she didn't just say declare war. She said this is an attack on our sovereignty. We're being treated like a territory. We're a colony.
Well, so how can the president just do this then? If Congress had said, look, before you can wall off more, Congress has to act.
It's completely unilateral, and I think it will be litigated for years.
You know what's fascinating, though, Paul, is that the environmental left, the Greens, are furious
because of the Atlantic coast move.
Yeah,
they're happy with Alaska, delighted.
Well, no, they did. He didn't lock up everything in Alaska. I mean, their view is that they've got this thing that temperatures are going to rise by 2 degrees Celsius. Armageddon will be upon us, and the only way to stop it is if all hydrocarbons are kept in the ground. Why do they make this argument in light of this? I think they're basically trying to soften up the bureaucracy, push back against the EPA bureaucrats, and say, don't even think about moving forward with any of these things, like on the Atlantic coast.
Well, so, Kim, the president and the State of the Union, and every time he gets a chance, takes credit for low oil and gas prices. He takes credit for new American oil supplies. And here he is doing another big move to block new exploration. How can he have it both ways? Which is the real president?
Look, I think the real president is exemplified in what you see going on in Alaska. This is a big deal. Most of the oil that moves to the south from Alaska comes through that Trans-Alaska pipeline, 800 miles. It starts in Prudhoe Bay. Most of it comes from Alaskan state lands, but those fields are being depleted.
Right.
What the president is effectively doing here is walling off all of the federal lands around it. To the east, ANWR; to the west, the National Petroleum Reserve; to the north, the Chukchi and Beaufort Seas. And he's making it so that no more oil can go in that pipeline. If not enough flows down that pipeline, it has to close down. And you get to Dan's point, all the hydrocarbons are left in the earth. The environmentalists would be thrilled.